Hello Shazoolo. This is a video response to your video Suppressing the Truth in Unrighteousness. Now, I am a non-Christian. I am pagan. And there were a few of the points you made in the video that I felt like addressing and replying to. Now, in the start of your video, you express a certain annoyance that people like me, people who are not Christian, don't always welcome Christians' attempt to convert us. But there are a few things you have to understand about this. First of all, when you have heard it all again and again and again and again from people who try to make you convert to their religion, eventually you get a bit annoyed at it. Because just as you surely get annoyed that people don't see your point and don't see it your way, for me it can be a bit annoying when people try to force their views down my throat when I already have a religious view that I adhere to. Now, I'm lucky I don't have a lot of people preaching to me in my everyday life. The Christians in my everyday life, friends and family, respect the religious views I have. They respect me as a pagan. And so when I get people on the door that tries to convert me, I usually have a talk with them. But for people that live in that 24 hours a day, people trying to convert them, I understand while they eventually get to the point where they say, no, I don't want to hear any more of it. Imagine that, imagine if the tables were turned. Imagine if I were your aunt. And so every family gathering, I would say, Shazoolo, I want you to take some time and listen to my pagan beliefs because I want you to convert. No, pagans don't do that. We are not interested in converting others. If people want to come to paganism, that is the various forms of pagan beliefs, that is fine. But we generally don't try to convert people. And I don't know of any modern pagan belief that run around and try to convert people, but let's say we did. And every time there was a family gathering, I would tell you about my beliefs, tell you that you were sinful and wrong for believing something else than me. Wouldn't you also eventually get to the point where you said, you know what, Anya? I don't want to hear it. Can't we just talk about something else? And that is what I'm talking about. When you've heard this so many times, eventually you get to the point where you don't want to hear it anymore. And there's also another point here, and that is now you say people that don't believe there is a God. I believe there's a God. I actually believe there's many gods. And I have actually had experiences with the Christian God, with Jehovah. He has come to my aid when I was in a very, very tough spot. But I believe that, depending on the paradigm I'm following at the time, I believe that he is one of many gods, or at least one face of the god. In my pagan beliefs, there are many pagan beliefs, but in my pagan beliefs, which are sort of based on Wicca, I believe there are a male deity and a female deity, and that all gods are a reflection of male divinity, and all female gods are a reflection of female divinity. But let's not get into that in detail. And the point is, I do believe in God, but that doesn't mean I believe in Christianity. Now, I respect Christianity, and I know it is a religion that means a lot to a lot of people, and that is great. But for me, there's a lot of things that does not ring true in Christianity. And one of the things I have a problem with is, and I know this will sound insulting and I don't mean it that way, but I'm just expressing it from my point of view, worshipping a book. Because here's the point, every time somebody do come to try to convert me, they wave a Bible in my face and they say, but it says in this book that this is the only truth. And I said, but it's a book, book can say anything. Yeah, but it says in this book that it was divinely inspired and it's the only truth. That's what the book says. And to me, that's a very circular argument. We are right because the book says that we are right, and if you disagree with the book, you are wrong because the book says so. To me, that becomes very circular, because then I say, well, what if I want to create a religion and I write a book, and in that book I say this is divinely inspired, the book is 100% right, it is the ultimate truth, and if you disagree with the book, you are sinful and you are wrong. Then 2000 years from now, somebody will come to somebody's door and say, excuse me, do you have a moment to hear about the truth about the blobby Norwegian? See here, it says so in the book of the blobby Norwegian that this is the ultimate truth, and to me that is how it sounds. Because yes, there's a lot of good things in the Bible. I have several Bibles, and I believe that there are good things in all of the religious scriptures. The Quran, which also, by the way, say it is the only truth. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian coffin texts, the various old books on Taoism, the Zohar, the Bible. A lot of these texts have a lot of profound truths in them, and if you meditate over them, you can gain a lot of spiritual knowledge. However, to base one's entire life and religion on what is said in a book, only with just because the book says it's the only truth, that doesn't work for me. And it's very alien to my belief system. I grew up in a non-religious family. My mother was agnostic, now she's a non-Christian theist. My father is atheist, and my grandparents were atheists. I think they never discussed religion at all, and they were, and at least he was a communist, she was a socialist. And they were agnostics or atheists. Unless they had some belief they never discussed with us. Anyway, I'm not baptized, I'm not raised in any religious practice whatsoever. And I was taught to critically examine the pieces of knowledge presented to me. And I loved reading the Bible. I think there was a lot of good things in it. But that doesn't mean that I believe everything in it just because the Bible says so. Because to me that becomes a bit, believe this book because the book says it's true. It's like, believe me because I say it's true. That a source says it is the only truth doesn't really give it credibility. And now I'm not complaining about your faith, because I'm sure that you have had a lot of experiences that makes this true for you. However, you have to understand that when you're trying to discuss this with somebody who is not Christian, these are questions that will pop up. So, yeah. And that hasn't anything to do with being hardened against Christianity. It has to do with not accepting something at face value. And for me, when I became a pagan, and my family were very supportive of that when I became a pagan, uh, it was a long process of self-discovery, of meeting with the divine, of figuring out what was true for myself. And I don't claim that my truth is the only truth that applies to everybody else in the universe. And therefore, to me, it becomes very alien to look at a book and says, "Oh, but it says in the book that it is the only truth. Therefore, it must be true." Because then I say, "Yeah, I believe there is a God. I believe there are many gods. I believe in divinity. I don't believe this book's claims." Do I believe that some of it was divinely inspired? Yeah, I do. Do I believe it's the only truth? No. And you also speak about conscience. And I don't know if conscience is comes from divinity or not. I do suspect that at least some of it do, because I do believe that our, at least the basis of our design, were created by divinity. And as such, everything in our nature, good or bad, comes from them. But here's the point. Yes, if I saw somebody drowning, I would feel it morally wrong not to do everything in my power to help them. But there's a lot of things that Christians feel is wrong that I have absolutely no qualms with whatsoever. For example, I am bisexual. Now, I am in a relationship with a man, but that's just because it was a man I fell in love with. If I had not been with him and had found a woman to fall in love with instead, I would feel absolutely nothing wrong with pursuing that love. I feel there's nothing wrong with having sex outside of marriage, as long as everybody involved are consenting adults. So, I mean, I find sex to be a very fun, joyous thing, and I feel it is a gift from the gods. So, as long as everybody involved is for it, and by that I also mean existing partners, I do not agree with cheating, then everything is fine. I'm a witch. I feel absolutely nothing wrong with practicing witchcraft. So basically, you do have a few things that seems to be at least partly universal within human conscience. No, it's not completely universal because there are exceptions, but that is at least very very common that humans have a basic morality around. For example, don't kill one another, at least not for no reason. Help others in distress, and so on and so forth. However, the religious commands of Christianity are not universal. It's not universal to feel that homosexuality is wrong. It's not universal to feel that sex is wrong. And so on and so forth. You don't have a built-in conscience against these things because there's nothing to be conscience, have a bad conscience for with them, unless you are practicing a religion that specifically forbids them. And if you do, then that's your choice. That's completely fine by me. But you cannot demand that everybody else do so as well. Now, for a final point, you say praying to get people to convert. And here's actually a point where our morality clash. Because for me, prayer is a form of magic. I believe prayer, or basically magic, is contacting, using, or applying supernatural means to affect change either spiritually, physically, or mentally in the world around you or in yourself. And as such, prayer is magic. It's very little different in my view from what I do when I use candles and incense and do a ritual. And to me, using magic to change somebody else's will, that's as a left-hand path and a chaos, I won't say it's bad, it's wrong, just bombastically. But to me, that's a pretty serious thing that I would be very skeptical about doing willy-nilly. And it is basically as close to a universal wrong as I will get. I say I would never ever do such a thing, no, because like I said, I'm a left-hand path practitioner. I don't believe in ultimate right or wrong, but I do. It's not a thing that I would do unless I had an extremely good reason for it. And just to do it to change somebody's religious views, to me, that is morally wrong. So yeah, I do respect that within your religion, trying to convert others is part of your responsibility as a practitioner of said religion. But in doing so, you have to understand that it's not a hardening against your religion that people doesn't listen. People have found their own truths, their own beliefs, and as great as you think your religion is, others believe their religion is great as well. And you said there's a hardening against Christianity in society. There are some atheists who are aggressive towards everybody who is religious, and that's unfortunate. But generally, I don't really see where this hardening against Christianity is. Now, religious freedom have become more prevalent, so that it's not just Christianity and everything else is fringe groups and frowned upon. Society is more accepting of all kinds of religions. And I think that's a good thing. But that doesn't mean we're more hardened against Christianity, that we don't like Christianity. So, yeah, I do respect your religious faith, but I think that perhaps you have to accept that not everybody is going to see the nature of divinity the same way that you do. I hope you have a great day and blessed be.